Seems like LeBron James is going to be making the decision in the next 48 hours, and I'm going to be honest with you guys, I'm getting a little bit sick of waiting on him to make his choice. I think he's just going to go to the Cleveland Cavaliers, but there's still definitely a few different options on where he could go. I mean, as you can see in the thumbnail, it turned out that Tom Dundon himself made a pretty big pitch to LeBron James to go to the Portland Trail Blazers, which would be a pretty hilarious move, to be fair, and as a Portland Trail Blazers fan, it would be fun because there is a lot of guards on that roster, and having LeBron James as the power forward, you know, alongside guys that can handle the ball and play make very effectively, like Jenny Abdia, Ja Morant, Damian Lillard, Scoot Henderson, you know, Donovan Clingan's there as well, and I do feel like, you know, him alongside good defenders like Tamani Kamara, Donovan Clingan, Matisse Thybulle, if he's going to come back, I don't know, would be pretty fun. But I'm going to be honest, we're still waiting. Adam Silver's still waiting himself because he's going to be waiting on what they're going to be doing with the schedule, because I'm going to assume they want LeBron James again on the Christmas Day card, or the Christmas Day event, sorry. They probably want LeBron James versus Bronny James on opening night. So, you know, what are we going to see out of LeBron? And I think there is a few options for LeBron to go to. I actually don't think that the Portland Trail Blazers are in the running. I do think it ultimately comes down to, I'm going to say, these 5 teams that Hoops here has posted is very accurate as to my opinion on where he's going to go. I would say number 1, the Cleveland Cavaliers. Number 2, the Philadelphia 76ers. Number 3, surprise, the Minnesota Timberwolves. And then number 4, the Golden State Warriors. And number 5, the Miami Heat. I know it would be a little bit of a storybook ending if he did return to the Heat, but I just don't think he's got that much interest in going back to the Heat. Every single mock team that I've seen that has LeBron James on the Heat means that LeBron is going to be playing some sort of point guard position, and I just don't think that LeBron, in what could be his final year of the league, at the age of, 42 years old, necessarily wants to be playing a ball-handling guard position. He probably wants to play a bit more off-ball, and he would be able to do that with the Cleveland Cavaliers. He'd be able to do that with the 76ers, definitely, because there's so many ball handlers on that team. He'd be able to do it for the Timberwolves. He'd be able to get to play with LaMelo Ball and Anthony Edwards, which would be hilarious. And then, of course, he could do that with the Golden State Warriors. Now, there's been quite a few little funny sort of news here. LeBron James, you know, a few days ago did say that what's important is that he wants to compete. I'm not too sure what that necessarily is going to mean. Like, does he want to go for a ring? You know, is he going to just go to the Knicks? He did say that he would have gone to the Knicks if they didn't win, and I'm going to be honest, I think that comes down to him maybe wanting his final year to be him bringing a championship to a team that either hasn't won a championship in a long time, or maybe a franchise that just has not won in general, which is why I was kind of thinking that maybe the 76ers, who just have not been in the Eastern Conference playoffs since 2001, 2002, would be a pretty big option, because it would be a big story for him to, you know, elevate the 76ers to the point which they can then be a competitive Eastern Conference team. And then James Harden himself has said that he would love to play with LeBron, with Donovan Mitchell in the Cleveland Cavaliers. I think that this is the most likely scenario. Of course, it's where it started. He got drafted by Cleveland all those years ago. You know, I think it was honestly before, around the time I was born, was when LeBron James started playing in the league. So I've never had an experience of LeBron not being in the NBA, so that's going to be interesting. But I do think that the Timberwolves would be fun because they just don't have a power forward really at all. So that would just be fun because he would fill in the power forward spot very effectively, I think, for that team. And of course, you've got LaMelo, you've got Anthony Edwards. So it would just be fun. Now, to be fair, LeBron's 42. Does he want to be hanging out with 2 guys that are, you know, in their mid-20s, relatively immature, pretty funny guys? Probably not for a whole NBA season. I think that he would probably prefer to hang out with his mates at Golden State Warriors, but I do think that the Timberwolves team fit is very effective for LeBron, and also that is a competitive side in my opinion. I know that OKC and Spurs are up there on the West, but I do think that the Timberwolves are still going to be very competitive as a top 4, top 5 seed in the Western Conference anyway. I think if he was to go back to Cleveland, I just don't know how I feel about Cleveland as a championship side. I know that the East is pretty wide open. I think that the East is catching up to the West, though, if you want my opinion on that. But I do think that still, I don't think that's necessarily a championship side either. I think that the Philadelphia 76ers, maybe this is a hot take, maybe it's not, especially with Jaylen Brown now. if he wants to win a championship on an Eastern Conference team, I think that the Philadelphia 76ers are a better option than the Cavaliers. But then if he just wants to hang out with the boys, you know, he wants to hang out with Draymond, who, you know, obviously seems to follow him around a lot, and maybe wants to play with Steph. Maybe Klay Thompson could get waived and then go back to the Warriors too. That could be pretty fun. Sort of final little year for LeBron in a Warriors jersey, because it would be a bit of a send-off, really, because that team is not going to be competitive, I don't think, anymore. You know, they had the crazy dynasty, but that's not going to last any longer, I don't think. So I think for me, if LeBron really wants to compete for a championship, and he's not going to go to OKC, he's not going to go to the Spurs, he's not going to go to the Celtics, I think that he would go to 76ers for the best championship chance. I think the best sort of storyline would be the Cavaliers. I think if he wants to have fun, play with the boys, hang out with his mates, he could go to the Warriors. And I did see something funny too, as I was trying to find the Tom Dundon quote on Twitter, because that's where I did see it. I know that I believe that apparently Anthony Edwards has had conversations, not Anthony Edwards, Anthony Davis has had conversations with LeBron about him going to the Wizards, which would be funny, because the Wizards last year were a pretty, you know, pretty bad team. They were tanking, and then they made the move to Trae Young. They made the move to Anthony Davis. In my opinion, that's one of the most entertaining teams out there. I'm very excited to see what the Wizards are going to do. But yeah, I think for LeBron, him on the Wizards would be funny, just given how crazy that the team would have been in differences. But I do like in this one here that we're going to be seeing LeBron on a different team than the Lakers. I'd like to see him retire as a Cavalier, just for the romanticism of the NBA, I guess. But let me know what you think. Are you sick of it? This guy here, Miguel, is having absolutely none of it. He's tired of it. But I do think that we're going to see LeBron make his decision soon. I'm excited to hear about it now that the World Cup is over. There was another rumor he was going to wait for the World Cup to finish, so all eyes could be on LeBron, because he does love attention. Let me know what you think in the comments below.